All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's edition of Urshell Speaks here in this wonderful Tuesday morning. So glad to have you out. Going to get a watch party started on Facebook. You should be able to check us out on Facebook, YouTube Live, tune in. We're all out there. And today, special show with a friend of mine that I want you to tune in. Again, this is another show for the business owners out there, those who are looking to grow and scale. And specifically, we're going to be talking about how you get money for your business in 2020. There's some new things that have happened over the last few years. And I have a guest and a friend that's going to be showing us, talking to us about the things that he's done and some exciting new things that are coming up in the future. So I'd love to have you have a watch party. If you have any questions, you can call into the show. You can send us some comments on Facebook Live, and we'll check you out. So, all right, Adam, are you there?
I am. Hi, Urshell.
Hey, good morning. Well, everyone, I want to introduce you to Adam Brandley. And Adam, you're out in Utah, right?
I am.
But from what I've seen, you've spent some time out here in the great state of Texas. Saw some things you've done in the past, and so Adam, we have not only do we have a lot of business owners on the show, we're just gonna jump right into it. But we've got lots of veterans that listen to the show, and we have people from Brazil. Last week, some of my good friends from Brazil that I did some work with were listening. So I'm excited to have this conversation and to learn about you and the things that you're doing, and then for those that stick around, we'll talk about some exciting things that we're going to get to do together, and I'm really excited about that. So Adam, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your history in business, mergers and acquisitions. Just let the people know a little bit about who you are.
Well, thank you, Urshell. I actually do love going to Texas. Several of the people on our team there say I should get a home there, and most likely that will happen.
Awesome.
My background is in mergers and acquisitions. I owned a broker-dealer firm out of Sacramento, California, and it was a boutique broker-dealer firm with offices from Texas to California, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Utah, Montana, Vegas. So it was a lot of fun, even in Arizona. And we helped companies get capital, and then we took ownership in each one of the businesses as well.
Awesome. And so, about how many businesses have you helped to gain capital?
Well, let's just say dozens. I don't
Dozens.
know if it's hundreds, but let's say dozens.
All right. And so, when I was checking you out when we were first introduced, one of the things that I saw, people look at me funny, for a long time, and probably for a lot of reasons, but kids has always been one of them. When I was in my early 20s, after my wife and I had our second child, third child, and then I had a cousin who was 13 and a niece who was in between my two daughters and was living with us. So I was like 24 years old, and I'm walking around the mall with 5 kids from 1 to 13, and people would look at me like I'm crazy. Now I'm 50. I have a 5-year-old son, and I might not be done yet.
Wow.
And
Fun.
so I got daughters in the 20s, and my son's 25. And but I saw that you have a number of brothers. Is it all boys?
It's all boys. I've got 10 brothers, so 11
Wow.
boys in the family. And we did have a stillborn sister. But, 11 boys, and it was a good time. We still get together at least once a year for a weekend of acting like we're 20 in, competition and either bike riding or snowmobiling or hiking or, basketball, baseball, football, whatever it takes, to kill ourselves and have a lot of fun as brothers. And they're all really good fellows.
Awesome. That's one of the great things. One of the things that I've loved the most. It didn't always seem like it, growing up. I had two older brothers, and I'm the youngest of three, and but we always had like uncles and other people living with us from time to time, and people that our family just maybe were helping out or bringing in, and so it was always really awesome, kind of having that environment. And I just remember how challenging it was for my mom, like grocery shopping with 2 or 3 carts and like 4 gallons of milk for the week, with 4 boys, 4 or 5 boys in the house sometimes, and so I can only imagine.
My mom was the same, that's
Yeah,
for sure. And you mentioned about having extras. You think 11 was enough, but there was always somebody going through a divorce, and so the kids would come, and some of them would live 2, 3 years with us.
yeah,
The family would break up, and so we always had 2 or 3 extras, counted as brothers.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So you've been in mergers and acquisitions, been in the business. Well, has that been your entire career?
Well, I did some distribution. We had a financial service company.
Okay,
Let's see, plenty of other activities, and just an enjoyable career. And when the broker dealer firm ended, my partner retired. Found out that there's so many more companies that need capital, and that's why we're doing what we're doing now.
awesome. And so I loved when we had our first conversation, just listening to you explain the motivation behind starting the independent stock market. So tell us a little bit about that, and how that all came about.
Well, it really did come from companies coming and saying, "Hey, we need capital raising money. We just need help." So the SEC changed the ruling that said to be an accredited investor, you need to have $1 million, but from now on, you can include the asset of your personal residence,
Okay.
which meant that 3 out of 4 people that were accredited are now no longer accredited because most of their wealth is in their home.
Right. Right.
And then, of course, this was around 2008, 2009, 2010, right around there. And people were holding on to every penny they had because they lost about half of it in the market.
Right. Right. Yeah, about the time that I entered into the financial services world by way of
Okay.
insurance, and and interestingly enough, I was working with the senior market, and so all of the people that I was was making clients, most of the people either had already retired, had recently retired, or were thinking they were about to retire, and had to unthink that and unretire and maybe work a little bit
Right.
longer because of the challenges of the market. And then that's all of those things actually led up to me kind of moving into your space, and tripping and falling, and ending up with a venture capital firm that was focused on, I think I shared with you about the collaborative capitalism. But I love the way that you have approached this. So for those businesses, especially the ones that are really trying to scale and take on capital and bring on investors, one of the things that I like that you talked about is protecting them from how investors can be predatory, can take their business or short their stock and really kind of kill their dream, which was something that we were passionate about. So what made you come up with this, the independent stock market, to prevent that?
Well, great question. What happened was these companies said we need capital, but we can't find more accredited investors. It's tough. So I said, you're going to have to take your companies public to access non-accredited investors, right? Anyone 18 and older can basically open an E-Trade or Scottrade account and invest. So you're
Right.
going to need to go public. And I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to help you because there's too much manipulation, predatory tactics going on where people will short a stock, which means they put in an option to buy the stock low and then they sell it high. And the trigger takes place when that stock falls to that low point. Well, unfortunately, people manipulate and then they distort the facts. It's called short and distort. So the stock starts falling. And based on that, the person that buys the stock loses money. The person that built that business loses money and oftentimes loses their whole business. The only person that wins when that stock drops and hits that number, and it could be $10 spread, it could be 50-cent spread,
Right.
but whatever it is, only the manipulator wins. And so I just said, guys, I'm not going to help you. And then I had a personal experience that happened that said, Adam, you've got to help these companies, and you've got to help investors find good vetted projects that aren't at risk of that manipulation, right? Because it was the investors that already agreed to buy high, and when that stock fell through manipulation, now they've paid $32 for a $12 stock. So we got to find ways to protect the investor. We got to find ways to protect the business owners, and then of course ways to help those people supporting us and building this vision. And so I realized I need to build a new stock market separate from Wall Street that had no derivatives. It was a simple buy, sell, bid, ask platform. And as we began doing that, we also realized the cost of going public was still quite high for most businesses. So was there a way to help private companies get the capital that they need without going public from non-accredited investors? And overseas, they were doing what's called equity crowdfunding.
Right.
And so we began that process of finding out how we can bring equity crowdfunding to the United States. That took place. Obama signed it in 2012. It's called the Jobs Act, which stands for Jumpstart Our Business Startups. And it took about 5 years for the Securities and Exchange Commission to put the rules and the regulations together.
Right.
And then, of course, you have to do all the filing and the reporting. And so now we can help companies raise money from non-accredited investors, keep private companies in control. Like you said, hey, how do we keep them in control so VCs, firms don't? Well, let America invest.
Wow.
And do it at $1 or $100 at a time or $1,000 at a time. And wow, if you had 1,000 people put up $1,000, you not only raise $1 million, but you got 1,000 fans out there, ambassadors of your business, telling your story.
Yeah.
So it's a fun model. And then when they get big enough, then we'll take them public on our own stock market.
See, that's amazing. That when we took our shot at this and had some fun and really got to work with some great people, we coined this term and probably didn't create it, but it sounded good to me. At least that's what I tell people is I coined the term of collaborative capitalism. But the mentality was we want to help see businesses grow and scale. But we don't want to be in a position where we or anybody else could be predatory, because I see entrepreneurs as really the class that has helped to build the things that we have in our country. They're the driving force, and I would have entrepreneur after entrepreneur come in, and you see the passion, and for some of them you see the culmination of their life's work. Something that they've always dreamed about, whether it was, their great grandfather that made the best penny whistles in the world, and they've been passed down this penny whistle strategy or ability, and they're innovating on that, or someone that just wants to make a change, wants to do something in an industry. And of course, we live in the time of disruption and people doing things that really haven't been done before. And you see them come in and they have that thing, that same thing that I love to see in my 5-year-old son, in his eyes when he's got that great idea about why he should get a popsicle or whatever it is. But it's that seeing that spark of passion and brilliance, and you see that. And I wanted to be a part of helping people accomplish those dreams without being taken advantage of, or without having their dreams stolen from them. And although, I love watching shows like Shark Tank and The Profit and things like that, I know what happens on the other end, of those situations a lot of times. And that person that had the vision, the dream, and maybe they were only capable of taking it so far, maybe their talent, their abilities or whatever, but still, I got somebody comment and said, where is the video? I don't know what's going on there. But someone says, where's the video? So I love that fact that, you're protecting them and giving them that opportunity to get to that point. So what you're talking about is a crowdfunding strategy and platform, correct?
It is, yes. But instead of a reward-based crowdfunding, this is equity, where they actually, in those businesses, have in that business. So they take the same risk as these entrepreneurs, right? But they're risking their money, and the entrepreneurs investing their money in sweat, blood, and tears. And together, they look to share in the profits of the business. It might be 2-3 years down the road, but equity ownership, it's like reward-based crowdfunding is the product. Equity crowdfunding is equity ownership in the business.
Right. And that's awesome. And is there anybody else? I haven't, and I try to keep my ear somewhat to the ground. Is there anybody else that's in the space in the way that you are? I haven't really come across anyone. It seems unique what you're doing with the independent stock market.
Well, we certainly want to think that we're unique. We're the only ones that provide full service. There's about 40 companies that are approved by the SEC to do equity crowdfunding in the country. About a dozen that are helping companies raise funds.
Okay.
We're the only ones that reach in and really help the company make sure that their documents are correct, make sure they, you talk about people excited about their business and so forth. Well, that's one thing to say, I have a cool idea. It's another idea to say, I'm going to live with this idea for 20 years and make it happen.
Right.
And so we want to make sure the business is scalable. We want to make sure that they're committed for the long haul, that they have in-house expertise. So we coach and we mentor them all the way through the process. Eventually, year after year, helping them raise money till we eventually take them public, which nobody else has that process. And then we have a little TV show to promote those businesses, and no one else has that.
Awesome.
So, yeah, we feel we're very unique.
Awesome. And, we're going to, in a couple minutes here, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we want to talk about that TV show. I think is really exciting. I love the concept. And then the other pieces of the puzzle that you have in there. And so we're talking to Adam Brandley of the independent stock market and doing some great things to help entrepreneurs raise that capital. And if I understand correctly, from startup to those that are profitable, revenue generating, all the way to those who want to take their companies public. And they can do it on your stock market, on the independent stock market, and not have to be subject to the predatory nature of derivatives and other things and having their stock shorted. So you're out there listening. Those of you on the watch party, thanks for joining in. If you know a business owner, someone that's growing their business, we have a lot of people that we know that really want to scale and that have a vision of being more than just a mom and pop, and really wanting to, take their business national, really wanting to do some major damage and eat up some market share. So we're going to take a quick break. Take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about some of the ways that you're helping doing this. And there's a couple of companies that you've already been working with. I want to talk about some amazing companies and some things that I've seen. So we'll come back, talk about that, talk about the TV show in just a couple of minutes. This is Urshell at Urshell Speaks with our guest, Adam Brandley. And we'll see you in just a couple of minutes after the break.
3, 2, 1. KVGIRadio.com.
Y'all have really just opened my bubble and just...
KVGI Radio brings you conversation and entertainment. Be sure to follow us on social media. Who streams the best talk shows? We do.
All right. I'm going to work out a little freestyle for that intro one of these days and come back in and drop some lyrics on everybody, but not today, because today we're being gifted with the opportunity to talk to my friend Adam Brandley, coming to us from Utah, and talking about the independent stock market and the great things that he's doing. So, Adam, we kind of hinted at, and you mentioned that in addition to the independent stock market and helping these businesses raise capital, and not just raise the capital, but you guys are really partnering with them, coming alongside them, adding expertise, bringing in the relationships, the people that they need to help them, because again, they may be the best at penny whistle making, but there's a whole lot of things when it comes to scaling a business, and really, getting to that next level that you're going to need. And a lot of it has nothing to do with the business, but has everything to do with business. And so I love that you guys are bringing that part in as well. But you kind of hinted at a TV show. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, while we were waiting for the Securities and Exchange Commission to put the rules and regs together for equity crowdfunding, and also to make it easier for companies to go public through our process, a friend of mine said, Adam, you got to watch this show. It's called Shark Tank. And I said, I don't have time for a show. And they're like, Adam, it's in your industry. You've got to watch it. And of course, now I'm a fan, of course. But so I get my boy who's 25 at the time. I say, hey, let's watch this show together. So he agreed, and we saw these three dynamic women that were selling this mango sauce, and I just fell in love with them. Their passion, their drive, their determination that we don't care if you do a deal with us or not, we're going to make this thing work. And I turned to my boy and said, I want to invest in these gals. And he's like, Dad, you can't invest. It's only those sharks. And I'm like, wow, if they just pulled up our app as an individual, I click, I want to invest in that company, boom, I can invest. And so then he says, well, let's at least buy their product. So I said, just go to sharktank.com, abc.com. I didn't invent QVC or Home Shopping Network. Certainly, they sell the products that are on Shark Tank, and they didn't. So he had to go online and search and find them out. And I said, darn it, with our app, you could just click buy the product, kind of like the reward-based crowdfunding model, but you could click buy and have the product shipped right to you. So then I thought, gee, all I need is a TV show. So we're real fortunate. Within a week or so, we were introduced to Kevin Harrington, who was an original shark on Shark Tank.
Right.
He introduced us to his friends, Forbes Riley, who was like the queen of QVC and Home Shopping Network. She's just a lot of fun. And we began that concept of building a TV show, which I am not a TV show producer. Well, I should say I wasn't. I am now. Because after a couple of years of putting everything together, you make a lot of mistakes.
Right.
And you learn what you should do. But how fun is it? March 3rd, we are putting together our pilot season. It's going to be on Facebook Watch and on YouTube TV. And we do have, you mentioned before the break, we have some fun companies that people can put $100 in or $1,000 in and own a piece of that company right while they're watching the show.
Wow, I think that's amazing, and the brilliance of the name, America's Real Deal, with these companies and giving the average person the opportunity to invest in a company, and because again, I'm sure that there are millions of people, myself included, while watching some of these shows on Shark Tank. We have a few friends that have been on Shark Tank, some that got deals and some that didn't. And seeing, what happened after that and how they were able to use that opportunity while being on television, but then knowing how much more how much greater it would be, because people feel empowered when you have that, just like I think when American Idol first started and everyone could vote and see who they at one point moved forward. But I think part of the brilliance is when you have this opportunity to participate by voting for a business or business owners that you really like or believe in and that you're excited about. But then to say, you know what, I want to be a part of that success. And again, if you, like you say, if you have 1,000 people that put in $100, the money is one thing, but then that's, 1,000 more people that are not only rooting for you, but that are probably, sharing on social media, talking about it with their friends, putting a bumper sticker on their car, talking about it at the church social, right? Because they want it.
If you own Costco stock, you're not going to go shop at Sam's Club.
Right.
You're going to buy the products you can tell. And you mentioned voting like American Idol on these shows. We put together a vote process too, but instead of just a text vote, you share out your favorite company, that video, to your Facebook friends, for example, and that counts as a vote. And so then it's a competition show. Who's going to get the most votes? Who's going to sell the most because you can instantly buy the products? And then who's going to raise the most capital? That determines who's the champion of America's Real Deal for that season.
Wow. So that's some extra brilliance right there, because again, so it's one thing to get 1,000 people to invest $100, but then if you also have 1,000 people sharing to their networks on social media, now you have an advertising agency. You have 1,000 people that are sending out, and if they're only connected to 100 people each, and now it really starting to sound like a multi-level marketing thing. If everyone just shares it to 100 people, and one out of those 100 people, but that's really the power, again, of social networking and social marketing. Except for in this fact, it's I'm buying something, I'm not selling you something, and I'm sharing something that I'm genuinely excited about. I think that's brilliant. I love that. Can you tell me about, if it's okay, one or two of the companies? I know one that I'm excited about, but one or two of the companies that you already have on the platform.
Well, let's hear the one you're excited about. It's hard because we've got so many companies. In this first episode, we narrow them down to 16, and then there's the top 8. And then from there that was the judges' cuts to get to the top 8. And from there, it's America's choice, who's the champion.
Okay.
But yeah, who's your favorite?
So my favorite so far, I think my wife is obviously really passionate about Citizen Armor. just because of the safety and the protection for kids. And she previously was a social worker. Obviously, we have children, but my favorite, the one that has me the most excited, is VibraVision. I grew up with a martial arts background here in Texas, doing Taekwondo, and one of the supporters that we've had, a gentleman by the name of Carl Allen, who's a philanthropist, and he has invested heavily in things that have to do with people that have lost their sight, or people that are blind, macular degeneration, and he supports heavily in that area. And so that combination of this martial arts training and skill and discipline, combined with helping people who are vision impaired. This weekend, no question, I legit watched probably 3 hours worth of documentaries, demonstrations. I watched a 30-minute news broadcast that they had done there with somebody by the name of Big Buddha. Sounds like he's a fun guy up there. And so VibraVision is definitely one that I thought was awesome. Tell us a little bit about how you came in contact with them and what's happening there.
Well, it was my nephew that actually was taking a martial art class there.
Okay.
And so I went to learn about it. And as I did, they told me about this ancient Indonesian martial art where people could drive down the road blindfolded, and the blind people could actually go through obstacle courses and eventually see colors and eventually read, because if they could see a shape, they could see a letter. If they could see a letter, they could see a word. And this was stuff that just kind of blows your mind. So I said, I got to learn this, and I want to help you build this business. And they said, you know what? We haven't been able to get the Western medical practices to actually agree and buy in. I said, look, I feel compelled to help you. I want to do everything I can. If you'll put your faith in me, we'll get the doctors, we'll get the capital, and we'll help blind people. I have a really good friend of mine that's blind, and I said, man, if he could be in church reading the scripture, singing a song, and reading the words,
wow,
that it would change his life. So I went in and I started the practice, and they do teach you how to do that. It's vibrations, it's frequencies, and this is not a sales pitch, but I am going to their immersion course in the end of March, and for my friends like you, it's $34.95. When the show starts, the prices will be $6,995.
Wow.
So only my friends, Urshell,
right,
can get in at the $34.95, and there's only like 15 spots. But if you know somebody, and those people watching, that we do vet the people, because this is a special skill. I mean, you can go to Vegas and see the cards if you needed to. It's kind of crazy stuff. So we want to make sure people are doing it for the right reasons. And it's just amazing. But what's more amazing is the two brothers, Nate and Mike, that run this.
Mm-hmm.
They are the real deal.
Wow.
We call it America's Real Deal because we want to find people with real deal, that are the real deal, and they really are. They have this love and compassion and drive, and we have the medical practice that signed off and validated this, as well as people, blind people, that have validated it, and are now getting on an airplane, flying over here, getting to their hotel, getting dressed, showing up at the event by themselves.
Wow. I saw one of the guys, and and he just said, kind of matter of factly, this is real. I don't have eyes anymore. It's not like I'm peeking through the blindfold.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But he's like, I physically don't have eyes, but now I'm independent, and and so just an amazing thing. And when I started studying, and learning about capitalism, when I started moving into this space, one of the things that I read, and it shouldn't have shocked me, but it did shock me because of kind of the mentality and the ethos that we have about capitalism and we have about, let the buyer beware and all of these things, is that, our version of capitalism was created to do the most good for the most people. And, regardless of anyone's political bent or direction or, that was the intention behind capitalism in its true spirit, was to do the most good for the most people, to have the most impact. And all of the things that we say and talk about are wrapped in this language, regardless of practice. But when I look at this, what you're doing and the types of companies like this that are being invested in, and I see the ability to genuinely change lives and make money. Because making money, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not bad. I'm in favor of that. My wife's really in favor of me making money. My children are excited about the opportunity to make money. But I know for me, having an impact is a greater driver than the actual dollar signs. And that's what I love what I see on many of the ones that I've been able to go on and check out, is there's also an impact. And not it's all just social impact investing. But is that a core value or belief in what you're doing?
Well, it really is. And it is exactly what you said. Is the impact in that business and their employees, and is the impact going to affect customers? We have one company that helps people stop snoring. Well, that's saving marriages. We have one company, that is an exercise machine, and they call it the Glute Pros because it helps your glutes, but of course it helps your whole body.
Yeah, and that's saving marriage.
But it's a fun, it's a fun title, and it's a beautiful. But and then like you mentioned, Citizen Armor. We've got branding company, we got social media companies that are. I mean, this social media group is fantastic. The media people expertise that every small business now could have access to. Their social impact is, let's take the expertise of Reebok and Jelly Belly and these guys in branding and put it and give that expertise to the little guy. And of course, Citizen Armor is about protecting our kids. And you can't get more social impact than that.
Right.
They have notebooks, and I bought one for all of my kids to take to school. It's just something that unfortunately you have to think about today. And of course, we love our kids, and we want to make sure they're safe. Wonderful companies. This gal makes candles that remind you of things when you're young, and or of specific memories. But all of these companies are just fantastic, and the people are really wonderful.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I learned early. It's one thing to consider investing in a good business or an opportunity, but I learned really quickly that more than anything, I was investing in people, and because that's what's really going to make the biggest difference in the long run. My wife, when she saw that Citizen Armor, do you know the first thing that she said? And it made me think, because there was a time when we didn't legally have to wear seatbelts. There was a time when you didn't have to wear helmets when you're riding a bicycle or a motorcycle. And my wife was like, this should be mandatory in every school. Every child should have one of these, as long as we're dealing with these school shootings and the things that people are experiencing. And it's just so amazing how quickly, and if you guys want to go to the website, as a matter of fact, so the TV show is called America's Real Deal. Go ahead and let's give the viewers the website there where they can go and check some of this out.
It's just that. It's americasrealdeal.com, and they can download the mobile app, so they're all ready for the TV show, and that's America's Real Deal as well. So
okay.
On both platforms.
On both platforms, and I can tell you that if you see on my phone right there, if you can see it, I downloaded the app shortly after our first conversation, and you can go and watch the videos of these companies. But my wife was like, that citizen armor, how, and the guy was just like, whap, whap, whap. And all of a sudden you go from having a backpack to having armor, protective armor,
Right.
that would protect the child. And like you say, the notebooks and things that they could cover up, that they could shield their friends. I thought it was absolutely amazing, to see a technology like that, something so quick, and something that, again, I don't care who you are. This is something that you could get behind, that you could support, because it protects, my most precious commodity, which is my children that I keep having. So I thought that was brilliant. So,
that's great.
so let's talk. So that's one thing we wanted everyone to know about America's Real Deal. And guys, you're getting exposed to the independent stock market from my friend Adam Brandley here. And then one of the things,
maybe combine those two, or so. ISM is the compliance arm.
Okay.
That makes investing, while you watch the TV show and you want to click button and invest. Well, ISM makes that possible. So we
Gotcha.
do all of the compliance pieces, filing with the SEC, all of those parts and pieces, getting the CPA reviewed financials, getting the valuations done, getting escrow accounts, and all of that, so that it makes it real simple for a person to just, hey, I want to invest. So it says the TV show's America's Real Deal, powered by ISM, just to make sure people know, when, as they're listening, well, what's ISM and the TV show.
Awesome. Thanks for clearing that up, because that's really important to understand, because there's behind the scenes, there's a whole lot of moving parts. I mean, if you think you want to, you want to raise capital, well, there's a whole bunch of things. I mean, I think I told you, because I tripped and fell into this space, and it wasn't, I didn't spend a lifetime of learning. I can honestly say today, without fear of contradiction or prison, that I downloaded my first private placement memorandum off the internet. I did a find and replace to change and put our company name in there. I changed the amounts. I mean, this was as MacGyver, or really kind of the Marine Corps way of, listen, the tanks broke, but we got duct tape and super glue. We'll make it happen. We'll figure it out. And that was really my first private placement memorandum. And I look back on that now, and every time I think about it, it's like Lion King, Mufasa, say it again. I just kind of shudder, thinking that, that was the start that, allowed us to actually to do some good. But, if I would have had the right people, connected, with the right knowledge to make that part of it easier. And eventually we did get great lawyers, and great people to work with us. But you guys have already packaged that together so that the business owner can still just focus on building, growing the business. And you guys have packaged that all up. And so, like you say, it includes, audited financials, all of those things that they need. And also, so the investors have that confidence of knowing that this business owner didn't just download an investment document off the internet and did a find and replace. But he's actually got people who've been there before and can help take them to the promised land. And so one other great thing that I'm excited about all of this. It's really been fun for me getting to know you, getting to learn about the business. But I'm also excited that we're going to get the opportunity to work together on some of this. And that's real fun for me.
Yes, and what we've been talking about is that military edition. So we're talking about a professional athletes edition, a university edition of the TV show, and of course now, with your help, have you oversee it and have the exclusive rights for the military edition. So 16 companies, and it would be fun to have some in the Army and some in the Navy and some in the Marines and some in the Air Force and some in the, that now they're competing together. And so if you're the Marines, you definitely want to vote for your companies, right?
Well, I love the Marine Corps. I love my Marine brothers, but when it comes to investing money, I'm looking for the best opportunity. But we've seen that. As a matter of fact, again, we
There you go.
mentioned some of the veterans, and my good friend Cortez Riggs. He has the Military Influencer Conference, and he through collaboration and working together and helping others to build. That's one of the things that's germane to the military environment. And while we're in, and when we get together in bars, we bust each other's chops, and we talk about the Air Force, although we're all jealous, of the lifestyle that they live, and all of these different things. But man, you talk about a community that comes together to really support and help build. That's something that's really exciting. So I'm excited about the military edition of the show. Last week, I had a meeting with a former Dallas Cowboy football player. Told him about what you're doing. Told him about the professional athlete edition. I've got some good friends that have some connections there and some financial organizations here. But this military edition, that's going to be the third season of the show. Is that correct?
Well, it just depends. As fast as that comes together,
Okay.
we'll just run it kind of separately from the average seasons that come
Okay.
through. So it just depends how quick it comes through. It could be the third. It could. I don't know.
All right. Well, we're moving with speed.
We're hoping so.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty confident it's going to be sooner rather than later, because we've already got some
good.
some excited conversations around that, and so we're going to be able to get veterans. And here's one of the things that we're seeing in the veteran community. We're seeing people that are already starting their businesses before they're off active duty. They're already running businesses and calling them side hustles, but some of them are surpassing their military income while they're still on active duty because of how you can run businesses, how you can create businesses on the internet, and really start to have an impact, and how they're able to galvanize teams and collaborate and do all of those wonderful things. But then we're also seeing in the military community the number of businesses that are being started by the families, by the spouses who, in the past, it's been hard for, veterans to, especially the spouses, to maybe have a substantial career because they might be moving every 3 to 5 years and things like that. And now it's created this whole other opportunity. So there is a wonderful, wonderful group that is nationwide now. So we're tapping into that network, and we're going to see some great competition there. Even some of the ones that have previously been on Shark Tank, and some that got deals and some that didn't, but they're still growing and scaling their businesses. And there are a few businesses that I've met that really don't have a need for capital. I don't know a lot of them, but most of the ones I know, they're always looking for more capital. They're always looking to scale, and always really looking to take that business to the next level. And then, of course, there are the serial entrepreneurs that are always looking for the exit, because
Right.
they want to do it again. One of my good friends and supporters of what we've been doing is a guy named Corey Ryan, and I'm sure you met people like this. Corey was a Marine, and then he started a law firm and grew it, sold it for a great amount of money. He did really well on the exit, and then he started another firm, was a managing partner in that law firm, and grew that, and then acquired his old firm back for twice what he sold it, just like 3 years later. Top tax attorney law firm in the state of Texas. And I had him come speak to some of our entrepreneurs in a training to talk about the legal aspects of things. And this is why I love working with entrepreneurs, people with that true spirit, because he stood there in front of this group of veterans who were at the beginning stages, the ideation phase of, starting their business. And he looked at him, and his voice started to crack a little bit. And he said, I would give anything to trade places with where you guys are right now. He said, I love, the building and the work and the pressure and the stress and just seeing it come to life. And those are the guys. And we get that, especially in this military community of serial entrepreneurs. And he was serious. I mean, this guy is absolutely killing it in his field, absolutely killing it. And he looked at a bunch of people who were sitting there. Some of them, they're coming in at night. They've been working all day, and they're trying to put their dream together. And he said, I would give anything to, to trade places with where you guys are now. And that's the type of thing with what you're doing with America's Real Deal and the independent stock market, empowering that. It's just great. So anything else that you'd like to share about, the things that are going on or what you see the future of America's Real Deal being?
Well, we love the entrepreneur, like you're saying. It really drives the economy. In fact, according to the Federal Reserve, the small business economy is the third largest economy in the world. It's the U.S. economy, the China economy, and the small business economy in the United States. So it's important for us. And so to then be able to have non-accredited investors invest in private deals, since the 1933 Securities Exchange Act, it was illegal for non-accredited investors to invest in private deals. You actually had to have $1 million net worth. Now, there were a few exemptions for real estate and some things like that, but for the most part, the common everyday American could not invest in private deals, which meant that they didn't get on the inside. You couldn't buy the stock for $100, and now it's $46,000 if you're Uber or Google or Facebook or Nike or Coca-Cola, or you didn't get to see a 5 times return or a 10 times return or a 46,000 times return. Now everyone can have that opportunity, because if you remember, once those companies go public, now you might get 4%, 8%, 12%, 20% return.
And you're happy about that.
But you're not going to see 10 times your money.
Right.
You're just not going to see that once those companies go public. So now America has the opportunity to look at good vetted projects. There's still some that are going to go out of business. Their money is at risk. This is a high risk investment, private investments.
Right.
So they can don't borrow money to invest. Don't use your grocery money. Don't use your rent money, because you can lose all of your money.
Right.
But if you're investing in other things and you allocate and want to diversify and redeploy some assets to invest in private businesses, well, this might be something that you take a look at. And that's what we're suggesting is diversify, redeploy. Think about owning some assets that are in private equities, just like the wealthy do every single day.
Yeah, we used to tell people, don't do what rich people tell you to do what rich people do. And and what they do. One more
thing before I got to go, I want to say, when you pull this off, this military edition, which I know you will, I'm looking forward to having you co-host.
Awesome.
On the show. So,
well, I'm definitely looking forward to that, and I'll do my best to make sure I look sharp. And but I'm super excited about that, about being on the show and about being a part of the success of America's Real Deal, which in turn means the success of entrepreneurs and business owners. And so I'm excited to be able to join with what you're doing, and to galvanize the veteran community, to be excited about it, because that automatically makes it international when you bring in the military community, because people are everywhere and their families and supporters and friends are everywhere as well. So, Adam, I want to thank you for taking the time to be on the show with me today to talk about this. We'll be sharing this out. Everyone that knows us is going to be talking about this. But I think that this is going to be, an amazing, amazing journey. It's going to support a lot of success. And so, again, you can go to americasrealdeal.com, americasrealdeal.com. It's all spelled out. You'll see some of the companies that are on there. As a matter of fact, when they see those companies on there now, they could go and invest.
They can invest right now.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So you could get a jump start on that, because again, once that first season goes out, and then after that, it's going to be Katie bar the door. I believe it's going to be a lot of exciting things happening. So listen, Adam, thank you so much for spending the time with us this morning. This will be out there so people can watch it later. I'm Urshell Metcalf. This is Urshell Speaks, always coming to you with something that we believe is going to make life better and improve things for every one of us, because we think better and we do better. So have a great day. We'll see you next week.